In this video, we will install chocolatey, Git, webstorm, putty, and set up SSH access for GitHub and the DDC web student server. We're going to start out by going to chocolatey.org, and we're going to look for the install link in the upper right-hand corner. Go ahead and click that. It will take us to a page with some instructions for installing chocolatey. We're going to look for this installation command right here and click on the clipboard to copy that command. Then we'll go to the bottom to our search bar and we're going to search for PowerShell. So PowerShell. We don't want to just click it. We want to run it as administrator. So I have run it as administrator here. If you do not see that, you can right click on the Windows PowerShell and you will get other options for running it as administrator. It'll ask, do you want to allow this app to make changes to your device? You very rarely run the PowerShell as an administrator. It gives some potentially dangerous access to your computer. But in this instance, we need to run it as administrator, so we're going to click yes. And we're going to paste that command for installation right here in this terminal by right-clicking. And as soon as we right-click, it will paste that command. Hit enter, and it will go ahead and begin installing chocolatey. Now, chocolatey is a package manager, which means it installs more complex programs for us that have dependencies and manages that installation. That installed pretty quickly. We need to close this PowerShell. So go ahead and type in exit. We are restarting PowerShell so that we're able to use chocolatey after that installation. So we're going to go back down to our search and type in PowerShell again and right click on it and run it as administrator again. And yes, we want to allow it to make changes to our device. And here we can just tell chocolatey to install things for us. The first thing we're going to install is Git. Go ahead and type in choco install Git and hit enter. Git is version control software that allows us to collaborate with other developers. It'll ask us if we want to run this script. Type Y for yes, hit enter, and we'll continue. This may take a little while. Now that Git is installed, we're going to install webstorm. We do that by typing choco install webstorm and hit enter. Webstorm is an IDE, which is an acronym for Integrated Development Environment, and we'll be using that in the bootcamp to edit our code. Yes, we want to run the script. Just type Y and hit enter. In the future, you will rarely run the command prompt as an administrator. It's a security hazard to do that full time. This is a rare case in which we need to deal with system settings. Now that's installed, we can exit the PowerShell. So type in exit and enter. Now we need to install putty. So go to putty.org, and the top of the page, it says you can download putty here. Click that here link, and it will give us some options for downloading putty. You probably have a 64-bit computer and operating system. So we'll use this putty tech 64-bit installer.msi here. So go ahead and click that, and it will begin downloading. And when that download's complete, we can click on the file in the bottom of our screen, and it will install it. Click next. It's going to put putty in our program files. Yes, we want to do that. Click next. Install this. Requires this much of your hard drive. Yes, install that. Just to make changes to our computer. And we don't need to view the README right now, so we'll go ahead and finish. Putty is an SSH client that allows us to connect to the server so we can manage our files. Now we're going to set up our SSH key with puttygen. So we'll go down to our search here and type in putty. And first thing that comes up is Putty, the app. We don't want that. We want puttygen. So go ahead and click on puttygen. Select ED25519. Then click generate. You can move your mouse around in this area here to create a little extra randomness. Now there are two parts to this key. There's a public key, which is displayed here. I just selected it. And then there's a private key, which is not shown. The public key can be shared and made public. It's just that, it's public. We'll be giving that to the DDC Web Student Server and other services, including GitHub, that we're going to be connecting to. The private key, now that must be kept private. Don't share the private key with anyone ever. Both parts of the key are going to be saved in the same place, so don't share the file. Now we're going to make a real good passphrase, one that's unique. We haven't ever used it anywhere else before, and we're not going to use it anywhere else later. It's only for this key. Now, passphrase means it needs to be long, not just a single word, but it should be significantly long. We're going to memorize it, or we're going to put it in a password manager like Dashlane or Bitwarden or LastPass. It's required that you get a password manager for the bootcamp. So I recommend now you pause the video, go get a password manager, install it on your computer, because we're going to be working with lots of passwords, many of which are going to be strings of random characters and pretty long. I put in my passphrase there. We're going to save our private key. So click Save Private Key here. We're going to save it in a specific location. It's going to be in desktop. And then we're going to make a new folder. And this is going to be bootcamp, lowercase. It's very important that everybody puts this in their bootcamp folder in their desktop so that when we need to help you as instructors, we know where to look for this stuff. Go in there, and we're going to name this key SSH dash. Now, in the bootcamp, we refer to dashes as TAC. So SSH TAC key. And click Save. I'm going to keep puttygen open. Now we'll sign up for GitHub and set up our SSH key on GitHub. GitHub is where developers share their code and collaborate. We need to set up a new account, so you're going to sign up for GitHub. You're going to fill this out. This username is very important. You're going to want a professional username. Your GitHub account will contain a public record of your work as a developer and will be seen by future employers and developers that you collaborate with Developers will be able to find you on GitHub. So I personally chose a username that has my first and last name in it so that people could find me. But if you want to be a little more private, you can use something other than your name, but keep it professional because employers will see this. I have a GitHub account, so I'm going to go ahead and sign in. Use your CNM email address when you create your account. That will establish you as a student and give you special benefits from GitHub. So I'm going to sign in with my account. Once you're signed in, or have created your account and are signed in, you are going to go to your settings. So click that drop-down menu, go to settings, and you're going to look for SSH and GPG keys. Now I have a whole bunch of keys because I have multiple devices. Click new SSH key to add our SSH key. We're going to switch back over to PuttyGen and we're going to copy our public key. And I'm going to select it and press Control-C for copy. I'll click back in here and paste Control-V to paste it. And I'm going to name this. I will usually name this something that lets me know what computer I have this on. Click Add SSH key and it will add it in there. And if I scroll down to the bottom, I can see that key's there. So I'm good to go. We're going to set up our SSH key on the DDC web student server. So let's go ahead and navigate to https://ddc tacweb.cnm.edu. Okay, we're going to go ahead and put in our username here and our password here. This is our CNM password and CNM username. Click sign in. And we're going to add our key here. I already have my key in my clipboard. Press Control-V and paste it in here and click Add SSH key. There's my SSH key that I just pasted. Now we can go ahead and close PuttyGen. And now we're going to set up our computer to start using our new SSH key when it starts up. Open the File Explorer. And we're going to navigate to the bootcamp directory. So we put that in our desktop, bootcamp, and we could see that our SSH key is in there. We're going to right click in this open space, go down to new and select shortcut. So we're going to make a new shortcut. And we're going to click browse. We're going to go to this PC, the C drive, program files, putty, pageant, which is putty agent. Select that and click OK. Then we'll click next. And we need to name this here. We're going to name it. Everybody in the bootcamp is going to name it the same thing so that us as instructors can help if there are any issues. Capital P, lowercase u, capital TTY, space, capital A, GENT, putty agent. And click finish. Now we need to tell putty agent to load that key automatically. So we're going to press Control and Shift at the same time, and we're going to right click on the SSH key. We're going to click Copy as Path. And then we're going to right click on Putty Agent and go to Properties down here at the bottom. Then we're going to change the target by clicking here at the end of the target, adding a space. It's very important that you add a space. This won't work if you don't. And then we're going to paste the path that we just copied with Control V, which is a shortcut for paste. And remember, there's a space in here between the two, between what was there and what we pasted. This will tell Putty Agent to look for this key when it loads up. So click OK. Now let's make this start at boot. So we're going to right click and cut Putty Agent. So right click right here on Putty Agent. We're going to click cut. And then in the File Explorer, we're going to go to a special address. We're going to go to %appdata %. And then we're going to do /, which this direction of / is also called a whack. Then Microsoft, whack. Then Windows, whack. Then Start menu, and then whack. And then Programs, and then whack. And then Start up. That will take us to this location, and we're going to paste it here. So you can right click, paste, or hit Control V for a keyboard shortcut. Now let's test this out by restarting our computer. When the computer starts up, we should be prompted for our SSH key. So I'm going to go ahead and shut down now. And now I've restarted my computer, and the first thing that pops up is Putty Agent asking for my passphrase. So I'm going to go ahead and enter in my passphrase here. This will activate my SSH key. And click OK, and my SSH key will be active. If I go down to the bottom right-hand corner here with this little up arrow, and I see a Putty Agent or P agent in here, go ahead and double click on that, and you can see my SSH key here, and that means my SSH key is active and usable. So you can go ahead and close that. So now we're going to open up Putty. In our search bar, we'll type in Putty. And in Putty, we're going to put for a host name, so ddc tac web tac student.cnm.edu. And then we're going to copy that and paste it down in saved session. It's a good idea to name your session the same as the host name. Putty allows us to open up a terminal, get terminal access to the server. Then we're going to save this session, and then we're going to go to connection, data, and we're going to put our CNM username in here, and we're going to go back to session and save our session again. We're going to test this by double-clicking ddcwebstudent.cnm.edu in our saved sessions. And it'll open up a terminal to the DDC Web Student server. It will give us this security alert. It is normal to see this security alert the first time we connect to a new server. It's asking us, hey, do we really want to connect to this server? It is not normal to see this after we've connected for the first time. So we'll see it the first time. If you see this, say, a couple weeks from now, then you may be connecting to a server that you aren't expecting to connect to. This is the DDC student server. It's what we expect it to be. So we're going to go ahead and click yes and approve this. We know that our SSH key is working on the DDC Web Student server because we now have access and we're not prompted for a password. We can go ahead and type in exit and hit enter to exit the server terminal. Now we're going to configure Git. We'll now grab another file from putty and put it in Git's path. So open up a file explorer and navigate to this PC, then the C drive, and then the program files, and then to putty. We'll press down Control and Shift and right-click on Plink. Then we're going to copy as path. And then we're going to go back to the File Explorer and look for PC and right-click on it. And at the very bottom is Properties. And then we're going to select Advanced System Settings down here on the left. And then Environmental Variables on the bottom here. And then the bottom part under System Variables, we're going to click New. We're going to add a new variable, and its variable name is going to be uppercase GIT underbar all uppercase SSH. And then in the variable name, we're going to paste what we just copied for path. When we paste this here, we want to make sure and take the quotes off the beginning and the end. Very important. This won't work if we don't remove the quotes off the beginning and the end. So we're going to click OK all the way through this back. And we're going to test this by clicking down here in our Start menu. We're going to search for git bash. Git bash. Git bash gives us terminal access to Git. And here we're going to type in quote $ uppercase GIT underbar SSH quotes. Then a space, and then lowercase GIT at github.com. Has to be typed out exactly like this, and then you hit enter. Now the response that we get will be very much like what we got back from SSHing into the server. It's asking us, do you really want SSH access to this server location? This is GitHub asking us this. Yes, we do. We can type a Y here and hit enter. We will only see this the first time that we type in this command and connect. You will not see it after the first time. So if you type it in again and hit enter, then it will give us a different message. And now we need to set some GitHub global variables. Start with typing in git config space tac global space user dot name space, and then in quotes, put your actual name. So I'll put in Marty Bonacci. And then hit enter. Now in the terminal, in any terminal, you can hit up arrow and it will give us our last command. So I'm going to hit up arrow and then I'm going to backspace the stuff I'm going to change. I'm going to backspace to keeping git config tac global and then user dot email and then space, and then in quotes I'm going to put my CNM email that I used on GitHub. So you should use your CNM email that you used on GitHub and hit enter. Now we've set up our Git and we can go ahead and type in exit and exit from this. Now we're going to install Node. Go to node.js.org and we are going to install the latest long-term support version. So here it's 14.15.1 LTS. That's short for long-term support for Windows That's the current version, the latest version at the time of this recording. If you have a newer version for LTS visible on your screen, go ahead and select that one. So click on it. You'll start downloading. When the download's complete, we'll install it. Click Next. Yeah, accept the terms. Click Next. Click Next again and Next again. Don't install the extra tools. We already have chocolatey, so you can just click Next here. And then click Install, and it will go ahead and install Node. And click Finish. This concludes this pre-work video. We have installed chocolatey, installed Git, webstorm, putty, and set up SSH access for GitHub and the DDC Web Student Server. You may now continue with the next pre-work video.